Mr. Jaffer Abdul, who is the software team lead Google. He has successfully developed many networking products over 14 years. He designed and developed platform software for the high density cloud networking products. He had worked on Layer 2 protocol and Metro Ethernet area. He is a platform developer in Broadcom is SDK migration, filter redesign, BCM initialization, and NPAPI bug fixing. He worked as a project associate in DRDO R&D. He worked in both switching software as well as satellite software. He has a good knowledge in CLI, web, SNMP, etc. My heartfelt thanks who took his valuable time and joined us today to be the part of this webinar. I welcome you, sir. I warmly welcome our respected director, Dr. P. Paramasivam, sir, who has been the pillar behind this event. I welcome you, sir. I feel happy to welcome our principal, Dr. G. Umagauri, ma'am, who has been backbone of this program. I welcome you, ma'am. My heartfelt and special thanks to Dr. Sharmila ma'am, HOD of AIDS department for organizing the webinar to enlighten the young mind. Thank you, ma'am. I respectfully welcome our HOD of various departments who has supported us in many ways unimaginable, not only helping us with the ideas but also with the execution of those ideas and giving us their necessary moral support. I'm honored to welcome our respected professors without whom we are incomplete, who has guided in the right path to achieve our goals. I extend my welcome to all faculty members, teaching and non-teaching staff. I welcome you all. Last but not least, I welcome my dear brothers and sisters for joining in this webinar. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Samira, for the welcome address. Jaffer, shall we start now? Yes,
Yeah, we
yes,
can
you
start.
can
I
take over the
may,
session.
um, thank you. Thank you, Samira, for the nice introduction. I'm hoping everyone can hear me loud and clear. And it is really excited to meet you all over this video conference in this unprecedented event that is going across the globe. I hope everyone's safe and sound, and I am really going to enjoy the next 60 minutes talking to you. And it is my privilege to have an opportunity to talk to you. So let's get started. Let me share my screen. So I hope everyone can see the screen. If not, let me know. So today I wanted to talk to you about the emerging programming languages and also a few more things. So let's get started. So this is my today's agenda. So I wanted to talk to you about some of the popular programming languages in the next 15 years that dominates the world. And I also talk to you about few emerging technologies and also explain the connection between the programming languages and the emerging technologies. And also, I would like to give you some idea about what jobs that you will be doing when you get into the real life and how that programming languages is related to your day-to-day job. And also, few learning and preparation material to make you a successful software programmer. With that in mind, I would like to open that conversation with a question. I wanted to ask everyone, like, how much of you think that your college syllabus is going to be directly helping you to deliver the cutting-edge technology that are available in the world? And I really wanted to start with this particular question because I came to India 3 months back, and I happened to meet all my friends who studied with me in college. And some of the people are working as a software developer in India. Some of the people are working software developer like Singapore or in US. And while having a lunch, and I came across a conversation with my friend where he said like, whatever I studied in my college is not directly helping me in my day-to-day job. I studied completely different thing and I'm working on completely different thing. And that statement gave a shock to me because I'm on the other hand, whatever I studied, I use it in a day-to-day basis. And he is also working as a software support engineer. So I was shocked by the fact that he said it is not at all useful. And then while going back while coming back from India, I was like really thinking about this particular statement. And then I wanted to actually talk to each and every college student if I meet them in the future and really ask this question. And I really wanted to make it clear that what is really covered in the college and how that can be directly used in your modern day technology world. The college syllabus, it's mainly designed to give you a fundamentals of the particular field of study. I also took a look at the latest computer science syllabus of the University affiliated, um, which is, I think it is something 2019 syllabus or something like that. And I also noticed that they modernized the syllabus a little bit compared to what I was studying. And I really thank the people who designed the syllabus because those professors who designed the syllabus, they really thought through the modern technologies and also wanted to cover all the basic building blocks that you need to get yourself up and running in modern day technologies. So whatever you study in your syllabus, it's going to be your building blocks. It not necessarily directly apply to your modern day technology, but all the things that you see today are built by basic things. And another fact that I would like to tell you, I have taken more than 100 interviews over the past 14 years in various companies. And especially in Google, we ask fundamental things. We don't care whether you are a 2 year software engineer, 2 year experienced software engineer, or 20 or 200. If the fundamentals are not clear, we are not going to hire them. And that is basically our understanding because we believe once you learn the fundamentals completely and fully understand the fundamentals, you can learn anything that is modern and cutting edge. But without the fundamental, you will be only grasping the outer layer of the modern day technology and you will not be able to challenge the modern day technology and build something new. So your curriculum is designed in a way that it is going to be really, really, really helpful for you to achieve the fundamental clarity of the particular field of study. So with that, I hope that that makes sense now. So let's move on. There are so many programming languages are out there, and I used to be a C programming developer for a long time. I started with C. That is all the programming. That was the only programming language that I knew for a while. And then I slowly catered towards C++ and other programming languages over the period of time. And I was lucky enough to work in two proprietary programming languages and also able to interact with the people who built the programming languages. And then I started to ask around, there are already 100 out there. What does it make it, what is it new? What is it this going to do that existing one cannot do it? And then that professor, he's from Stanford and he's like a billionaire. So, but he was kind enough to explain me the differences. He said there are three important factors for programming languages to be successful. One is the community. You need to have a bigger community to support and develop and also educate the people around the world about the programming language. Second, the library. You have to have a very strong library that will allow you to do any kind of building blocks in any field. Third one is my favorite one. It has to apply for more than one use case. What do you mean by that is it shouldn't be a programming language that only cater towards a developing very small subset. It has to support more than one technology or more than one domain. So with that in mind, I have also done some analytics and able to understand what are the programming languages that are going to be more popular. It is all these programming languages are already popular, but it is going to dominate the world in the next for the next 15 years or so. And I'm saying this based on three factors. First factor, in the in Google, we screen about 3 million candidates' resume every year, and we conduct over 300,000 interviews. And we also gauge the amount of engagement on a particular programming language and also encourage the interviewers to learn about the language. And these are the five languages that are 99% being used in the interviews and also 99% going to be used in the next future. There are other languages that are popular like this, but it will eventually go down because of the single use case or because of the complexity to learn. With that, without further ado, I will get started with the programming language. And this list is also one of the strongly recommended programming languages by University Berkeley, California. So the first one is JavaScript. The JavaScript is very popular programming language. It's because of the fact that it is very simple and very lightweight to run. So you can run multiple instances parallelly that will help you to build a web scale development. So the companies like Facebook, Google, TikTok, these companies are more and more investing on the JavaScript because it is very easy for us to run in a cheap computer and get the efficiency compared to Java. The second language that is most popular is Python. The Python allows us to develop something efficiently and quickly. Even though it is one of the slowest language, most of the applications in the modern day doesn't really need speed. It needs scalability. So there is a difference. There are billion users in the Google, and every day they are searching so many things. But what we wanted to do is we don't want to achieve anything in a millisecond, but we wanted to see, regardless of how many users, everything should be served under a second. So for that use case, there are some places where Python is very suitable and very scalable. And some use case, we leverage some other technologies to achieve the performance and efficiency. The third one is Java. Java is being popular for quite some time, and it will be continuously popular for next 15 years because there are so many existing technologies that are built and supported using Java. The main advantages of Java is that it comes with a JVM, so you can pretty much run on any platform. So the next is C++. C++ is the oldest in this list, I guess. It has been there for around close to 50 years, but still there are so many things that it really depends on. All the infrastructures that are built today is using C++. All the modern technology is also built using C++. For example, the latest popular Bitcoin is completely written in C++. So you can imagine the power of C++, even though it invented 50 years back. And it is completely dominating more than 20% of the entire programming population. And the fifth one is, oh, 1 second, mine is so slow. Yeah, the fifth one is Go. Go is invented by Google to solve two factors. One is build fast, another one is run fast. All these traditional programming languages take so much time to build, compile, and run. For example, if you really want to compile some of the code of a great product, it takes at least 4 hours to compile. So every line of code that you write, if it takes 4 hours to compile, you are not going to produce much of output by the end of the day. So the Go is invented to really solve three problems. And then two is just allowing the developer to build fast and deploy fast. And Go is gaining very much popularity in the recent years because of this functionality. So if you learn one of these languages, you are going to be really making your way through the modern technologies in the next decade or so. And each programming language of these kind of programming languages really last for 30 years span. So it could really cover your entire career. So I would say at least learn one of these programming languages, but learning more than one it doesn't hurt or it doesn't harm. So with that thing, I would like to go to the next slide. I would like to talk to you about the next generation technologies that are upcoming and that will create so many jobs and so many opportunities. Why do we need to worry about the next gen technology when there are so many current generation technologies are available? The reason is two things. Every technology or every product will go through a bell curve, which means at the initial there are only few people that is adapting the technology, and then it will rapidly grow. At its peak the entire world will be using, and then eventually the technology will fade out and then the support and everything will come down, and that is the nature of any business or any product. So what we wanted to do is we don't want actually the budding engineer to catch up the technology that is at the peak and go to a downward spiral. We want you to be equipped with knowledge that will help you to capture the next generation technology so that you can actually ride the up curve, which means your compensation, your benefit, your growth, your career is going to be accelerated. This is a subjective topic. It changes people by people. Some people have a different opinion, some people have a completely different opinion. So I have done some research and analytics and figured out what will be the next generation technology. And I was able to group them into three sectors: the applications, the services, the infrastructure. So these are the three sectors that I was able to understand, and most of these sectors are technology sectors. So I group them into three different buckets now. The application is basically an end user product. For example, Gmail is an application, TikTok is an application, and YouTube is an application. So there are so many applications are out there, but some of them are going to really change the world, like how smartphone did. And in one of the my favorite application is the crypto, also blockchain, or also you can say Bitcoin. So I hope really you know what is Bitcoin. I'm not going to explain everything here very detailedly because time would not allow me to do it. But I hope you have a very fundamental understanding what is cryptocurrency and what is Bitcoin. So the underlying technology of the Bitcoin or any other crypto is a blockchain. Blockchain is a very good technology which does two things. The main fundamental advantage is decentralized, which means it is really difficult to hack. There is no centralized repository. It is decentralized and having millions of copies, which means even if you steal one data, still you are not going to make any difference. And you cannot corrupt the data because you have to corrupt a million copies, which is impossible to do. The second major advantage, it creates the permanent chain of the events, which means wherever you wanted to track the history of a particular event, then blockchain is a technology that will do it like no other technologies. For example, you wanted to go and buy a land from a person. The land history today is not captured properly in any country. But blockchain will allow us to do it. It can capture from the inception of the land to 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. It can capture each and every query, each and every event that happens on a land. So you will get the exact history of the entire time frame in your hand whenever you need it. Like this, there are so many opportunities that can be touched by the blockchain and which can be completely transform the industry. So today the bank system are more and more started talking about the blockchain and trying to adapt. So the next 10 years to 20 years, there are so many financial sectors that will incorporate blockchain and that will boost so many of the jobs. As I said, blockchain is basically technology, and most of the cryptocurrencies are written in C++, which means studying C++ will help you to go in this particular sector and make more money out of it. The second application that I would like to talk to you is about the VR and AR, aka Metaverse, which is a Facebook recent product announcement. And it's just not the Metaverse, it's the whole VR and AR experience that are developed by companies like Snapchat, Apple, Microsoft, and Facebook. Today, they formed a standard body with comprised of 20 different companies, and they are trying to develop a metaverse ecosystem by 2025. And it will have an exact same replica of the entire world, which means whatever we do it in real life, we should be able to do it in a virtual world as well. Which means only one thing, there's going to be lots of jobs because replicating the entire world is not an easy task. So you will have lots of opportunity in that as well. The metaverse front end mostly developed going to be developed by JavaScript, and the back end is going to be either Java and C++ with the combination. The third, it's my favorite, the extraterrestrial. So there are so many things that is happening in the latest in the modern companies that are catered towards extraterrestrial. Elon Musk said that we will definitely land in Mars by 2025. And companies like Google is already researching how to build a network between Earth and Mars. Once we prove that the humans can land in Mars and live, the more and more infrastructure is going to be developed. All of our infrastructure like telephone, email, internet, everything only is capable of running on the Earth, and none of the technology is capable of running between the planets. So the father of the internet, Wing Cerf, who is also architect for the networking systems in Google, spending day and night revamping his idea about the TCP/IP because he invented it. And thinking how can we make the TCP/IP capable of taking the data between the Earth, between the planets, basically from the Earth to Mars and vice versa. This is very at the early stage, but once we have a working model, it will allow us to revamp all the existing infrastructure and make it flexible for the extraterrestrial communication. There are other applications that is going to be there along with these three, but these three might change the entire way that we operate today. That's why these three are worth mentioning compared to other applications. I will move on to the services. The cloud computing is going to be a never-ending sector. So basically, Sundar Pichai said in one of the All-Hands that cloud is the only sector that will never ever saturate. That is why Google is aggressively investing in cloud computing at about $10 billion every year. And cloud is going to be deployed more and more. Today, the entire cloud market only capturing 20% of the market. So remaining 80% is going to be captured over next 10 years. And there are only 4 or 5 companies that are delivering the cloud computing end-to-end solutions today, like Amazon, who's number 1 in this sector, Microsoft, number 2, Google is rated as number 3, and then Alibaba, Oracle, SAP, Salesforce kind of things. And all the apps that we write, it's going to be running in the cloud computing. So any web development, any app development, everything is going to happening on top of cloud computing. That's why I listed cloud computing as a service rather than application. The second most popular service is going to be the AI. AI is not going to be an end product, but it will touch each and every end product that we're going to use in the next 10 years. Like our phones got AI, our computers got AI, all of our IoTs, like our doorbell, our cameras, everything is getting AI adoption. And it is going to be increasingly happening with a rapid pace. So AI is going to be merged into each and every product that we touch in our hands, in the next 10 years. Now move on to infrastructure. So while we are talking about all these applications, the services that is enabling applications, now we wanted to talk about the infrastructure that is enabling the services like hardware, software, and stuff. There is one interesting infrastructure. So the Intel, who is the manufacturer of our processor, being the leader of the world. But in recent years, some of the competitors of Intel catch up with the Intel, and they are giving very stiff competition. Companies like AMD, NVIDIA. The AMD CEO, whose name is Lisa Su, she has BS, MS, and PhD in MIT, and she's very technical. So she found the opportunity that today processors are actually monolithic, which means you have 8 core, all the 8 core running at the same clock speed, which is not scalable or which is not power efficient. And modern day technologies uses some core when the power is needed and wanted to use very small amount of processor when it is idle. Like for example, our phone. Playing games need a high processing speed. Staying idle doesn't require any processing power. But we wanted to optimize the batteries of the cell phone. Then which means we cannot have both cores or all the cores running at the same speed. So she actually moved her entire company to focus on a technology called heterogeneous computing. And the entire world is going to be focused on the heterogeneous computing for the next 10 to 15 years, which means there are so many cores running at the lower speed and so many cores running at the higher speed. And we will have a balance between these cores that will use the energy optimistically. And it is not going to be applied only in the programming or processors. It is going to be applied in various technologies, mostly in the electronics and communication. So that sector is picking up the speed. And the second one is the quantum computing. The quantum computing is at the early stage, but it could revamp the entire computer science field. The basic idea of the quantum computing is instead of visualizing a problem with zeros and ones, sequentially, we could solve the problems with zeros and ones parallelly, which means a particular bit can be 0 or can be 1 at the same time, which is a completely new concept for our existing computer technology. So once it picks up the speed, we have to revamp all the infrastructure that can translate our existing software to a quantum computing software. So that translation and all those things will take so much of the jobs, and it will create, it takes so much of the space, and it will create more jobs. And also the quantum computer can easily be million times faster than the regular computers, which means we could solve lots of complicated AI problems which cannot be solved by the regular computer that we have today. The third one is security. Even though we have a security focus for lots of years, the security field is going to be completely revamped. The main reason is we are talking about the AR, VR, crypto, IoTs, quantum computers, heterogeneous computers, cloud computing, all those things. The security what we know today, it's basically an end-to-end security that is pretty much talking about the decade-old internet. So there are so many security companies are out there who are making a really big difference in this field. And the security is going to be most important field because at the end, we wanted to protect the users, we wanted to protect the data, and we wanted to respect their privacy. So this is going to be another sector which is going to be completely revamped. With all these technologies, I wanted to also mention few of the honorable mention technologies along with this list. And those are IoT, Information of Things, Internet of Things. So that is basically adding internet to every appliance that we see around ourselves, like washing machine, doorbell, Roomba, which is cleaning robot, and dishwasher and everything. So in the next 10 years, there won't be any appliance in the home which will not have the internet connectivity. So which means even though this is already widely adapted, but it is widely adapted only in the US. People like things like in India, it has to be cost effective to have a mass adoption. And that is going to happen in the next 10 years or so. The second technology is the payment. Digital payment is already very popular, and India has proved that they are one step ahead of the world in the digitalization of the payment by providing a standard APIs. Now every country in the world also looking at their Indian standards and also making their own standard payment system, which will allow us to transfer money across the globe within the seconds without any middleman. So it is going to become a predominant product in the next 10 years. 5G, which is the next evolution of the cell phone, wireless, is going to open up lots of new applications that we haven't talked through before. The speed of the 4G allow us to actually see the 4K video while we are on the move. We never imagined we could achieve these things when we were sitting at the 2.5G. Now, imagine how many of the things can be done while we are on the move if the 5G comes to the picture. So that is going to be lots of new customers, lots of new applications, lots of new traffic, and that means lots of new infrastructure. And then finally, the web and app development. It is going to be the never ending thing. There won't be any single day in the world where we will say no more app. So there, as long as there are so many different use cases, the app development is continue to be there. So these are some of the technologies, and all these technologies that I talked will be built, or it is already built using one of the 5 languages that I showed. So it's not just studying that outdated C++, it is also taking the C++ and building a Bitcoin, which is, hardcore modern technology. So I wanted you to think how the syllabus that you study or the programming languages that you study will really help you to build the latest application. So with that, I wanted to also talk to you about different roles in the tech sector. And this is where nobody will have an idea about what is coming in their life until they finish the college. And this is one of the important things that you should know. So you see 5 roles. The left being 60% coding, which means on a daily basis, she will code 60%. The second guy who codes 30% or less. The third person codes only 5% or no coding. The fourth person literally don't do any coding. The fifth person literally don't do any software or hardware. But if you see, the no code and non-tech jobs are actually more than or at least 50% of any software company that you see today. As an example, Google has 3 lakh employees around the world who are including full-time and part-time. Out of 300,000, which means 3 lakh, the first 3 roles are only 80,000. The second two, the non-core and non-tech, it's really about 2 lakh and 20,000 jobs. So you can see how a big software company in the world having less software engineers compared to the non-tech or no-code software guys. The reason is writing the code is only one aspect, and doing other things like shipping, operations, and all those things is another aspect of a product. And I really wanted to talk to you about today about this particular thing because it is also came across one of my conversation with my friend while I was in India. So as we studied in the college, we had 21 people in the computer science department. We are batch of 2007. Out of this, there are 6 people today are working in software or IT, and other people are working in a software field but working as a no-code or non-tech programmers. And these people told me that nobody ever told that they could make easy money without writing any code. And they always thought that, okay, software job means you have to write the programming. If you don't know the programming, you are out of the job. That is not the case. And I really wanted to tell you about this because there is one particular interesting factor that is happening in India, maybe in Tamil Nadu, where regardless of what you study in engineering, you go and work for IT. I see lots of mechanical people, civil engineers, doing a TCS software job. And I asked, why do we really do that? They said, like, I got an offer and I got a training and it's a decent pay. I will do it. What I really wanted to do is, there is one thing that is very clear at this moment. There is no other sector in the entire world pays that good compared to software, which means software is an easy money. You don't need to struggle a lot to make lots of good money. It is not the case in medicine or law or in business. That's why I'm saying, even if you don't want to become a full-time coder, you can consider all the other roles that are available for you in the software industry. Sticking to a software industry will give you a much better compensation and much better exposure compared to any other industry. So I would say, like, instead of going and doing a non-tech job in a banking or insurance company, do it in a company which is hardcore software like Google, Facebook. Clearing these non-tech interviews at big companies are much easier compared to the coding interviews. And I also wanted to tell you about some of the roles that these people do. The 60% code is a full-time coder, which means they are called software engineers. They develop code, they develop hardcore infrastructure, not the IT. I also wanted to address one more thing clearly. I see people confused between software and IT and they use the term interchangeably. I just wanted to add a clarity. The software engineer who builds a hardcore core product. The IT uses mostly the applications that are available today and and develop one more application on top of that. For example, using a SQL database and building a massive database for an oil company. That is also an application, but it is not really using the programming language. It is using the existing tools that are available. So that is the main difference between IT and software according to myself. And these opinions are subjective. It could change person to person. So the 60% coder is basically what we call it a software engineer, or SVSWE, who write code day in and day out. And the programming languages, like people like me, use one of the programming languages and get the things done. The 30%, and any company, we will have around 15 to 20 percentage of this 60% role in a core product company. The 30% coder are basically code little bit, mostly using the tools or existing infrastructure or frameworks available. These guys doesn't code like these people, but they also code and to a minimal amount. Majority of the IT employees are fall under this category. The five, for example, is IT and framework developer and testing, all these things. The 5% code person is basically almost almost no code basically, or very little code. For example, support, system engineers, developer advocate, things like that. And no code, it's basically the person who doesn't write any code but still do a software job, like managers, program managers, project managers, and all the tech support, frontline tech support, and so on. The non-tech people are basically do the operations like selling, supporting, shipping, manufacturing, all those things. So these are the five predominant roles that you could see in any software company. So you will really need to make up your mind where you wanted to fall in this bucket. But going out of your software, if you're really having passion towards a particular field of study, like civil, and you wanted to go and pursue something in the core, you should do it. But if you are thinking about taking some random job, give your first preference to a tech sector because it will give you a better benefit and better compensation. So with these explanations, I would also like to tell you about few things. Learn for life, not for the exam. One of the things that I did differently compared to other people also had a side effect, which is I would not really memorize anything, and because I cannot memorize, I have to fully understand in order to remember stuff. That made me very slow compared to all my fellow classmates. For example, I could spend more than double the time of other students, but I can only get half the things done. But when I came to the real world, that helped me a lot, and that is one of the really differentiating factor that put me, far ahead of my fellow classmates. Which means if you learn for the life, you will never forget it. And the best way you can do it by studying in a proper channel. Get help from your teachers. They are the best. They can tell you in a way that you understand. Also, try to study in a textbook that is prescribed by your syllabus. I see all the textbooks that are prescribed by computer science syllabus. It's the same textbook that people use here from the top 10 universities. So the Anna University syllabus expect you to be one of the top 10 university people, but we are actually focusing more on a memorization and focusing more on a mark on the exam paper. So that is a sad truth and try to change it. And also I wanted to tell you how you have to study. As I said earlier, your teachers know the best. Ask them. They should be able to tell you clearly in a way that you are able to understand. But if you think your teacher is busy or you are already bothered them so much, try to study in a textbook, not in a local author. And remember, textbook. The reason we wanted to study in a textbook is, imagine this: you have an opportunity to see a person who invented C++. The person uses the C++. Who do you want to ask the question? The person who invented the C++ can also tell you the reason behind that invention. That is why I'm saying the textbooks prescribed by Anna University syllabus are more powerful than the local authors. It will take some time to get the hang of it, but you will slowly understand and also have more context about each and everything that you do. One of my favorite interview questions when it comes to interviewing people at Google is asking them to actually write a program to find the cheapest flight around the world. The other way is so it is a hard problem, but this is exactly what you studied in your algorithms. So another way to really enhance your learning skill is basically visualize everything. Whether you know it or not, every day you use technology more than anyone. The way your phone works is an example of a technology. And also you think in technology, but you just don't know it. I will tell you an example. You wanted to commute from your home to your college, and you know more than 4 routes to connect to a college. And obviously, without even thinking, you know the shortest path, and every day you take it. It's just algorithm invented by Dijkstra. So it is basically you do everything, but when somebody asks you to write a Dijkstra code, you won't do it. The reason being, what you actually do every day, you have to convert them in a programming and visualize it. Once you started to do it, pretty much you can do any programming without actually looking into the textbook. And there are so many things that you do every day. For example, your WhatsApp autocorrect is a famous interview question. And there are a few examples, but we ask questions not directly from a textbook, but we give them a real life example and then ask them to solve it. When I was interviewed at Microsoft a couple of years back, I was asked to do a small program that will actually mimic a smart speaker assistants. For example, things like Alexa or OK Google, how do they listen and how do they understand that these things are triggered? So this is the program that I was asked to do. Fortunately, I was able to think and relate, so I was easily able to write, even though I have never seen that programming in my life. But there are people like me who read very slow. I have an option for them now. Thanks to the technology, you have an audiobook. You could get the audiobook and then read it, or somebody else read it for you, which is much faster. But you can say this textbook or audiobook costs lots of money, and I want something cost effective. I hear you. There are so many audiobooks and so many book summaries are available in YouTube. Make use of the YouTube. When I really learned the power of YouTube, I really made a good return on the YouTube. I never watched YouTube for entertainment. I watched pretty much listening to MIT lectures and Stanford lectures and something like that. Because all those top universities, they upload each and every lecture that they take for free, which means you could learn it. And then that really opened me to think people from Stanford and people from MIT, something like that. And another thing, the companies like Google, they recruit only from most trusted universities or most famous universities. So people around me, there are so many people are from Stanford and MIT and Berkeley and so on. So now this also the YouTube also unlocked my mind to think like them. So now I feel I belong to them. I don't have the imposter syndrome. So that is another side effect that has benefited me. But if you think all these things are not helping you, go to say there are so many online um, learning portals. Don't go and join CSE or NIT, something like that. If you spend 5,000 rupees for a program, the quality speaks for itself. So don't just go and do some local institutions. Get a world class. There are so many online portals available today, and these are some of them. Get a account on these things. These cost about 3,500 rupees per month, but you get to choose a course that is offered by many universities, many professors, and you can pick whichever you like the most or whichever is the rated most. And then collaborate with the students. That will give you an opportunity to collaborate outside your college and outside your country. And these things will definitely help you to actually get the learning done quickly and effectively. If none of the things are helping you, you should really rethink what is the purpose of learning the particular thing, because this will absolutely work. And now that imagine you have learned the stuff, now it is time for the preparation, which means for the interviews or for the regular life. As a fresh grads, you may not have lots of options in the early years of your career. But once you cross 5 years of experience in the industry, you will start to get more and more opportunities. I right now get at least 2 opportunities every day, and you will have the same opportunity, same set of opportunities when you are at my age or even sooner. But you need to get three things right in order for you to get all the opportunities on your way. One is exposure, which means you should have an exposure of what is happening around you in a technology world. That could be knowing how much each one pay, what kind of questions each one asks, how to apply, what is a referral, what is a timeline, what questions they ask, how pressurized the round feels, and what should I use, what materials, all those things. Second, network. You should build a network in a way that will help you to get the interview. One of my biggest goal in life in my early years of career is building a network. I wanted to build a network in a way that if I lose the job or if I need another job, just using my network, I should be able to get at least 50 plus interviews. And that was my goal. And you should have something like that. You should connect with the people. When you are connecting with your classmate and both are searching job, it may not be useful. So try to connect with your alumni network or someone who is senior or someone who is already in the network. And the third one is use right set of tools for your preparation. Where I told you studying textbook is the best way, but for the real life interview, there are more better tools are available today. Make use of them. I don't know how much you know, but I would like to talk to you about each and everything that are being used the most in the modern day interview system or in the modern day job hunt. I would like to give you some of these things and uh, hope you will get the good out of this. First, getting the exposure. There is a website called meetup.com and there are so many other websites out there. Go and register yourself and find a group that you are interested in. Every Saturday, Sunday, most of these people meet and then they talk about the technologies and they get the networking and social and stuff like that. So you can just go and register on a group that you are interested in and go to gathering. You will see people from ranging like college student to a CTO of a company. And most people take time to do this because of two things. One is they wanted to introduce to new people and also they wanted to help the young people. So find out what is happening around you to website something similar like this. Don't spend your time on the Facebook. Second, levels.fyi. This particular website is a crowdsourced website. It will give you a salary range of a company that you are interested in. Unfortunately, most of these companies are product companies are mainly focused in America. But there are so many companies that are actually focused based on India that based on India is also available in this website. Go and take a look at this website. I also wanted to give you this website because I really want you to know how much you can make as a software engineer. For example, Google, Bangalore, we are setting up a new team now for our own division. And we are offering several entry-level positions and most of them are starting from 30 lakh per annum to 45 lakh per annum. That is for the entry-level position we are talking about. So I want you to have a really good understanding and also give you an idea like how much you can really make. Don't undersell yourself. You have a great potential. Third one, make use of the alumni network. Your alumni might be more powerful than you think and they can help you at the right time. So make use of the network. Also get in touch with your professors, your staff members because they can also connect you to different people and that will help you in a really good way. And in order to become and grow your network, there are few factors. One is LinkedIn, the most recommended website. If you really wanted to spend time on the social network, do it here because this will going to be helping you a lot. Connect with all the company's HR, connect with all the software engineers, and also get the help and also get the opportunity from them. The second one is teamblind.com. It's mostly driven by America, but I see lots of people from India, especially the Bangalore guys, are joining. This will give you a direct access of something similar, but you could also get the referral, also get the help from all the big companies. And then there is a website called Discord. It's a social app where they create groups to study and also prepare for the interview. You could search for like a Google preparation groups or like data structure studying group or something like that, and then you can join yourself and get the social as well as the knowledge. The third aspect is actually select using the right tool that will help you to deliver the interview performance upright. One is the golden standard of today's programming interview is driven by a website called leetcode.com. You can go and register for free and you can practice the coding. Almost 80% of the entire Silicon Valley companies really depends on it. Some companies like Google have their own portal. We don't depend on the LeetCode. But practicing at the LeetCode will definitely get you to one of the top companies. And then second one is the highscalability.com, where there are so many blogs about different architecture, where this is really written by the people who invented it. For example, you could see posts like how the Facebook really works, how the WhatsApp really works, how YouTube really works. These things are written by the architect who built the system. You get the first-hand information, and also it will really simplify some of the complex technology and terminology that you think it is very hard to understand. And educative.io, it's just an online learning course. There are so many courses that are catered towards interviewing and also catered towards preparation. So you can make use of that. HackerRank is another website similar to LeetCode where you can practice your programming skill. Also, the HackerRank gives you a free certification based on how many programs you solve, which you can share it in the LinkedIn. And people really value your HackerRank stars. So, which means if you have a 4-star in Python, they know that you know Python. There is another. There won't be another easier way to say to the people that you know stuff. So having these things will help you to set up a life for success, but it is not the only thing. I also wanted to tell you a few more things, mostly Mythbusters, because I was told so many myths when I was in college. I wanted to now bust all the myths. First thing first, your career is 40 years wide. You will never imagine this when you are in the college. Imagine your college is 4 years and your career is 10 times more than your college. By the time you realize your career is 40 years, it is already too late. What do you need to do? In order to sustain and deliver stuff over the 40 years, you need to have something in common. Otherwise, working in a particular industry or in a particular job becomes a hassle after you turn 40 or 50 because you won't be liking to go to a job every day. I want you to do a job with full passion and full satisfaction. That is more important. So there are few things that you can do to actually get yourself ready for the next 40 years. First, find out what is your purpose. What are you really doing? Why are you studying engineering out of all the courses? Are you really interested to do what you wanted to do for the next 40 years? When you retire and sit back, what is that thing that you think back and say, oh, I did it. I'm really happy about it. So think about these things. I also tell you what normally people think. So now you have a purpose that is going to be there for 40 years. Now, in order to achieve that purpose, have 2 or more long-term goals. When I say long-term goals, it is 15 years wide. You may not have a complete vision to have create a purpose, but I will give you some example. But you should really think what would be your long-term goals if you are keeping a purpose X. It is okay to leave lots of questions. You don't need to answer. You don't need to have an answer for every question. When you grow, you will able to find the answer and able to connect the dots. You cannot connect all the dots at the beginning. Now, third one is have a short-term goal, which is kind of 4 to 5 years. So it is like your purpose, and purpose is consist of 2 or 3 long-term goals, and each long-term goal consists of 2 or 3 short-term goals, and focus on it. And when I say years, it is an approximation. I don't want you to actually rush through it. For example, life is all about ups and downs. Some goals you will achieve in 6 months. Some goals you will not achieve even in 5 years. So I would really want you to think what is really best. One thing is don't get disappointed or don't get distracted. There are so many people out there will tell you all different things. Once you fix your purpose, you just keep working on it. Don't really give up until unless you are proven that you are wrong. When you say when I was in your age, I look at the people when they say things, I take it. I never did a thorough research on it. But later, when I actually grew up, I started mingling with lots of people who are very senior than me. And I was fortunate enough to get some of the gurus who are really awesome. Some of my gurus, really helped me to think differently. For example, when somebody says to you, ask for a data. If they don't provide, you do go and do research and make sure it is a true statement because if it is going to affect you. If it is not true, don't follow it. If it is true, and you think that you are going in a wrong direction, correct it. Now, I have worked with many people. This is my sixth job, and I have worked with thousands of people, ranging from a fresh graduate to a senior vice president or CEOs. And when I ask people around, especially when I meet older people, I ask one thing. Let's say a person is 6 years old. I would ask him like, if you are given opportunity to relive your 30s or 20s, what would you do differently? And some people will give you a really, really valuable advice. Don't pass on it. Just act on it. And when I ask this thing, when I ask what is your purpose, why are you working in a software industry? It mainly boils down to four things. The fourth one is passion. That is not here. The reason is if you are really passionate, you don't need any of these things. You know it. But unfortunately, 99% of the people are not passionate. That is the hard truth. So the 99 people run for three things. One is money, another one is title, another one is branding. And running for one of these things is not bad. Life is about choices. There is no wrong choice or right choice, but each choice comes up with a trade-off. That is what you need to know. That is the thing that you really need to know. For example, taking a decision is also very important in your life. That is not just a decision about your career, any decision. The normal way people think when we take a decision is to see two of things and see the benefit of each thing and see which benefit is more. But that is not the right way. A famous investor, Charlie Munger, he is called right hand of Warren Buffett. He said, invert the problem, which means don't just see the benefits of each thing. For example, you are supposed to choose between engineering and medicine. Don't just look at the medicine benefits and engineering benefits and decide based on that. You should choose you should think if I select engineering, what I would lose or what I would lose by not selecting engineering but selecting medicine. So think about what you are going to lose, not just gain. That will really change your perspective. And that is called opportunity cost. Each and every decision that you make should involve the opportunity cost calculation. Your decisions will automatically gets better every day. And I wanted to tell you three different things about these three different buckets. Title. Somehow I see Indians are very obsessed with title. When I was there, people were always asking me, "Are you a manager yet? Are you a manager yet?" And then I see people telling that, saying, "Oh, he is in a big position. He is a manager. He is a senior manager," something like that. I wanted to tell you, the management is just an alternative role that is in your software development job, not necessarily a better one. With each and every company today offers a dual tech ladder, which means you could be a manager or you could be a tech guy. For example, when you all start, you will start as a software engineer, and then you go to a senior software engineer, and then the path diverge. You can become a manager or tech lead, or senior manager or senior tech lead, or a director or principal engineer, or associate vice president or a distinguished engineer, or a fellow or a VP, or a SVP or a CTO. See, it goes all the way to CEO, which means you have an option. And I also asked people who actually go to management these three questions over the last 10 years. Why do you want to really become a manager? Because I was offered a management position like 7 years back and I rejected it. And so I was always curious, why would people choose it? What is the reason? And I always ask people, they told me three things. One thing, they really like the role. Second thing, some people say that they really like the management stuff. They wanted to do a management role. So those guys will be a successful manager in their career. There are two other kind of people who select a role, a management role, for two reasons. One is They really don't want to compete with the young guys when they become 40 years old or something like that. They're scared of the day-to-day engineering deliverables, so they think management is the easy way to cruise. That is not true because it is a double-edged sword. When the recession hits, the first people will be let go is the managers. So you don't want to go to a management just because you're scared of the engineering. If you're scared of the engineering, make yourself better. The third kind of people that go to management because they think the title is pride, obviously. So, but what happens is these kind of people will build a tremendous amount of ego over the period of time and it will bite back. One of my friend who progressed aggressively through his career and he became a senior director in PayPal. But he also developed a tremendous amount of ego. At one point of time, his team missed a deadline and he was yelling at his team. The thing escalated quickly. He was fired from his job on the next day. He was a lead for 100 plus people and he was holding a position as senior director, but it doesn't matter. So you have to your profile risk will also elevate when you become a manager. You have to really think what to talk, what not to talk. If you don't have these characteristics, you should not consider the management. Second, the money. People like more and more money. Nobody never says no to more money, but that also comes with a risk. The risk is once you gain more money, you will also able to deliver for the equal. For example, the company pay you more because they expect you to do more. And you cannot keep doing more stuff over the 40 years. Think about the 40 years length. You can do it until you marry. You can do it until you have kids. You cannot do it in your 50s. So don't chase the money. It is going to be a failure. I'll also have a real-time example. He's my close friend here. He changed 4 jobs in a single year and tripled his compensation. On the fourth job, he couldn't able to face the pressure. He was let go. He started on a square zero. That is where he started 2 years back. Basically, he lost it all. So don't chase the money. If you are really good, the money will come automatically. I never changed my job for better money. I always ask my current compensation as the next compensation, which means zero hike. People don't do it because I find some other reason to change the job, not the money. So don't chase the money. Third one is a branding. I never worked for a big company until now. Now I have a valid reason to work for. But I always worked in a startup. And my one of my famous dialogue from my relatives, why are your son is not working for TCS? Why are your son is not working for Infosys? Or directly they ask me, and then I ask, why should I work for Infosys or TCS? They say it's a big company, it's a brand, and that is what their imagination. We cannot fix people's mind, but you should really know what is you really want. Big companies often come with bureaucracies. So you cannot really, go after the bureaucracies every time. Think what is really want you wanted to achieve. That is why I told you your purpose, long-term goals, short-term goals should match, and you should pick one of these things based on what you chose as your purpose. Don't fall into the trap because if I have seen many people who fall into these traps are forever. They won't come back. The main reason is they really they really thought through the purpose carefully. So even though your initial days will be much harder since you have a clear purpose and you are walking towards it, but your rest of the career will be much brighter. So also another thing I wanted to tell you, having more experience is not necessarily going to be better. Obviously, in the initial days, you need experience because most of the jobs will ask you 3 year or 5 year experience. But once you gain it, it is good. The company really doesn't pay you for more experience. The company pays you for your performance, which means you are sitting at a you are sitting a 2 year experienced guy, and then there is a 24-year experienced guy, but he delivers less stuff than you. Eventually, you will make more money than him. So don't worry about experience. Just because he has a 30-year experience, nobody is going to give him a CEO posting. That position and all those things are based on your skill and performance. I used to work for a company called Alisa Networks. It is a very small company and it's a beautiful company. There, they do not have a title. Everyone is called a software engineer, regardless of how many experience you have. And I see a person who's having 2 year experience is a software engineer making $200,000 a year. I also see a person, he's like the ultimate architect. He's like a 30-year experienced guy who's making $2 million every year. But both are called software engineer. And that basically gives you a playground to eliminate the title and also eliminate the imposter syndrome. So some companies do not have the brand titles at all. For example, world famous Netflix doesn't have a title. Everyone called a senior software engineer. So don't fall into any of these traps. Think wisely. Make a decision carefully. So far, I have talked to you about so many stuff that are technical. This particular and final slide is non-technical. Over the period of time, I really improved my thinking, and that helped me to achieve more things than my technical skill. These 6 books will help you to shape your life. These books are some of them are written by Nobel Prize winners and big um, uh, like authors. Some of these books are read and reviewed by world famous celebrities like Kamala Harris, Sundar Pichai, Bill Gates. And I have a very good opportunity to interact with few CEOs of a multi-billion-dollar companies. And everyone that I talk about recommend one of these books. These books will shape your life. It will automatically make you a better person. So with that in mind, I will open up for questions. I will also share you the presentation link in the Hangout chat, so feel free to take a copy of it. Any questions? If you have trouble asking questions, please feel free to pass to one of your faculty members. I hope they can ask some questions over the Hangout. Hmm?
Students, if you have any queries, you can ask to Jaffer Abdul. This is an open session right now.
Mm, okay. I believe that is no question. So, okay, fine. Um, I wanted to, yeah, go ahead. Okay, I wanted to leave you with one quote. If you make yourself 1% better than you were yesterday, in a year you will see 37 times better than better person compared to last year. If you keep doing this for 2 years, I will see you will become a celebrity by yourself. You could ask me why I didn't do it. I came about these stuffs very later part of my life. That's why I wanted to really tell you all these things that are never been told when you are in the college. And also, you can connect me through LinkedIn, and this is my handle. I would love to connect to you and also talk to you in the future. Over the period of several years, so many people helped me and made me who I am today. So many teachers, professors, gurus, mentors, and everybody. And I'm really thankful to all the people who taught me something directly or indirectly. I know that all the people who taught me during my college days are not here, but one, Dr. Sharmila ma'am. I really like the way that she supported me during my undergrad, and I really wanted to take a moment and say thank you. With that, I will close the presentation. Thank you so much.
That was an amazing webinar, Jaffer. Hope our students would have got benefited more. The knowledge transfer is awesome, and hope our students would inculcate these ideas even in their career. So thank you so much. Now I request Devi Priya of second year AIDS to deliver vote of thanks.
Okay, ma'am. Good
Yes,
morning,
ma'am.
everyone. Gather here on this wonderful day. I take this opportunity to thank each and everyone for patiently attending the webinar. I extend my gratitude towards our special guest, Mr. Jaffer Abdul sir, for the inspiring and informative presentation, which would help us in our career. Thanks for your time in your busy schedule. A special thanks to Dr. Shamla ma'am for organizing the webinar successfully. Thank you all.
Okay. Students, participants. So, feedback form have been posted in the chat box by Sampath sir. Kindly fill in the form. It will be active for another 20 minutes. So, we'll close the feedback form. Those who have completed the feedback form only will receive the e-certificates. So, it will be posted in the live chat session or also in the YouTube link also. Okay. With this, any queries you have, children, to Jaffer? I think Jaffer. Shall we close?
Yes, sure.
Yes. So the feedback form has been there in the chat box in the Google Meet. Also, it is there in the live chat in the YouTube link also. Okay, it will be alive only for another 20 minutes. So see to that. Everyone are filling up the form. Those who have filled the feedback form only would receive the e-certificates. Okay. So Sampath sir.
Yes, ma'am. It is posted in the YouTube link as well as in the Google Meet link. I'm
Yes.
receiving responses slowly.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Shall we wind off the session, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can wind
Yes.
up this session. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Thank you.
nice
Thank you all.
session.
Thank you all participants. Thank you, Jaffer.